Good morning, folks. This is Alex of Shallibodhran, and in this episode, I'm going to be looking at tips on how to play, or rather tips when playing DoubleSkin drums. I know, first of all, that DoubleSkin drums are not very popular. The trend is more towards the single skin drums that are maybe a little bit on the smaller side, more like the 15-inch and less, 16-inch and less, 6-inch deep type of drum. But today I'm using an 18 by 4.5 inch or thereabouts drum, but more importantly it has a double skin on it. And tone differences between the single and the double skins is that the single skin vibrates and gives you a very clean, pure tone. The double skins, by contrast, have a very sort of muddy sort of sound. They have a very they're very warm. Even in small drum sizes you can get some very, very warm tones out of them. And it just has to do with how the two skins are vibrating. Now, just a note really quickly on the construction of these things. A drum like this one has no secondary control mechanism for controlling the second skin. All we have is the single, I don't know if you can see it, the single typical Allen key tuning setup that you'll find on lots of drums. And that's fine. How that works is that it just pushes one skin up into the other, and then the two move together as one. Now, there are drums out there that you can buy that are different than that. They actually have a double sets of tone controls, so they'll be layered on top as per normal, but then one, like the main set of Allen key tunings or the main set of tuners, will tune the outer skin, and then a secondary set will tune the inner skin. And the idea is to get more versatility and more greater range of tone and sound by controlling the space between. And you can make some really, really cool tones. It's hard to emulate that on this because this drum, for example, only has the Allen key system pushing on the second skin, the inner skin. The one on top is, for the most part, set at a standard tension for the most part. It's still loose, but it requires the two to work together to make a good solid tension, which means you can sometimes create a little bit of a gap between the two. But not always, and not always successful. So drums like this are I guess you could call them the more percussive type. To quote Seamus O'Kane, would qualify it as more of a percussive type of drum, rather than a drum that's bent more on, tonal qualities per se. So, tips on playing those drums will follow more along the lines of percussive rather than tonal, but we are definitely going to look at tonal. Might as well get the tonal stuff out of the way right away because I think it's important to have that, because it's always good to have good tone. And it's always good, especially on these things which have a very muddy sound. Pretty muddy tone for the most part by comparison, but powerful. You can get a lot of air to move with a drum like this, especially due to its size. So what I find helpful is that a long time ago in one of the previous videos I did, I talked about sections from the center. The sort of one quarter and 2/4 out from the center, or 1/2 and one half from the center, or 1/3 and 1/3 from the center. And the idea is to, when you pick up a double skin drum, set the tone that you like according to the open position, which is nothing on the back, and then calibrate your sound according to the type of stick you want to play. Maybe something like this, which is a bit of a lighter wood, I don't want to play. Maybe I want something a little more like this with a bit of a fatter head on it. No, maybe not. Do I want to play something thinner? No, I think I like that first one better. So let's just stick with this one. It's also very easy to see. So I like that. I have my tone set. Just like normal, I tune it according to how I would normally tune it, by listening and tapping a few inches in, at 12, 6, 9, 3, just to make sure I got the sound correct. Once you got the open tone, that's it. That you've got it. Now you just got to work with it. The next thing I want to do is to try to get a general geography of tones on the drum, which is trying to figure out where from center I can actually go. I generally find starting from the center to be the best place. So start with just using a finger on the back and just see what you can get between this and the open tone. So we do have a tone there. Move it halfway. Is that a little better? Can I tune that a bit better? Right there. So I have center, and I have right here. And it's going to differ from drum to drum. But I have here. Open. Dead center. And up there. And that's just with the finger. Try doing the same thing with however it is that you like to get the major part of the tone pushed in a clean tone. So in this case, the heel of my hand. It's not really going to work, is it? It's hard to find it. It could be because I'm trying to look upwards. What if I look downwards? There you go. So here. Right there. You hear the difference? There's a difference. One's a nice clean tone, the other's not. So on this drum, it looks like I'm not going to be traveling up so much. I might be traveling up with regards to the fingers. But it seems that I'm more successful playing this drum on a bottom end sort of style. Okay? So now I got that. I generally know where in a linear direction most of my tone is going to come from. It's going to be from down here, or if I flipped it around it would be towards this way. It's working with the drum skin, and it's also working with the geography of my hand and what it is that I feel comfortable playing. But there are other things on the back that you can do, such as, of course, different tones by placing the fingers in different sections. Okay? But at least now you're hearing the tones. But when playing along with jig or reel or whatever it is that you like to play along with, you're going to run into the tone problem because you're going to be severely limited in tones. Unlike single skin drums where you're able to slide up and down this sort of bell curve tone possibilities, you don't exactly have that with this. What you end up getting is a different sort of muddy sort of set of tones. What you're going to get is also tons of opportunity to use flat techniques on the back. So whether you're playing this way, whether you're playing with the blade and you're going up and down. And you'll be using the open tone a lot because the open tone is going to be, think of it as your anchoring tone. You know, a good example of a player who uses a lot of the what I would call an anchoring tone, so the tone that's just open, but you keep returning to it a lot because it's in tune with the rest of the piece of music that you're playing, is Kevin Conniff. And Kevin Conniff is a big user of double skin drums. Yeah, so if you're interested in actually seeing someone play a lot with that sort of tone set, then you definitely want to check out anything by the Chieftains. Anything with Kevin Conniff, either soloing or not, or check him out on YouTube. Just type in Kevin Conniff Chieftains or whatever, and you'll find him, and you'll hear he's using a ton of open tone, or he's using maybe 2 or 3 tone, maybe 1 extra tone, an open tone and a harmonic tone, and that's about it. your throat's a bit dry. So think about that. That's pretty straightforward and generally how to play. So your tones, again, expect them to be more limited, but expect the percussive sound to be richer in general than the single skin drums, because the single skin drums don't have that extra flap in them. The single skin drums can't do in the same sort of way. You got more percussive less tonal, more percussive qualities to the drum. I find that double skin drums tend to suit bottom end players a lot more. People who like to control tone, not according to sliding the hands so much, as more about pressing them in. There's a lot of tone that's capable of being done. You just lose some of the dimension of playing it. You end up having to do more work pressing and whatnot. But if you're a person who likes to press and control press, you might want to consider picking up a double skin drum if you're finding some of your flat tones to be a little unsatisfactory or a little one-dimensional playing on a single skin drum. That's always the limitations of single skin drums. They just don't have that same flat quality. They sound good, but they sound like there's something missing, in my opinion. I think there's something missing in flat drums, flat single skin drums. I think the double skin drums have a superior tone or a superior sound in general when you're playing and you're doing a lot of flat. If you're a person who does, unless you're playing like a very thick skin, and this is a very medium sort of skin, if you can get around, if you're a person who loves the flat thonk sort of play, you can do a lot more with that flat skin, with the double skin, than you can doing with the single skin drums. The single skin drums are great tone drums, but because the trend seems to be more and more towards sort of thinner skins, deeper frames, smaller drums, there's a whole world out there for people who do like double skin drums and bigger drums, or just double skin drums in general. My little Shaney McGrath drum is a double skin Lambeg, and it can sometimes sound like a single skin, but because it can do that because it's a small 14-inch drum. This thing's an 18-inch, so it has far more space. And what this I find is very, very useful, especially with them, is if you're playing African music or world music, because it has that weird sort of tonal change where the tone gets muddled in with the extra skin, and suddenly you find yourself playing really well with djembe players. Or a lot of African music I find suits double skin really, really, really well. Country music, a lot of Appalachian music and whatnot sounds great with a double skin drum beating through the backbeat. It's wonderful. Maybe even heard Hawaiian music sound great with it. Some Japanese music. One of the things I like to do is to practice the koto drumming. And koto drumming, I only use a double skin drum because the single skin drums can't hold a candle to a double skin drum when practicing the koto music. They don't have that warmth that koto has. They don't have that variability of the flat hits that the double skins have. And there's just something less primal about playing the single skin drums. They sound tinny by comparison. There's something lacking there. This thing is a beast by comparison, and double skin drums they have their niche. It may not be the greatest, most popular thing in Irish music or whatever, to play double skin bodhrans, but you can take a double skin bodhran to almost any world music genre, and it seems to fit in that little bit better simply because it blends in a little bit more. It's a little, I don't know, maybe this is the wrong word to use, but in my ear I say a little less refined, a little more rugged, a little more earthy, a little more gray. If I could use a chromatic comparison, gray-brown sound. It's got like a earthy, rusticy sort of sound to it. You can experiment more if you're a maker with the different types of skins. I think one of the coolest sounds actually comes out of a double skin drum with Remo skins on it. Or just, Remo synthetic, the Fibertone skins on it make amazing sounds. And I've only been able to see it once in my life because someone built it. Remo doesn't make it. No one out there makes a double skin synthetic head. So if you're someone who's a carpenter out there or a bodhran maker, that's a really cool sound. That would appeal greatly to people in the world music market because it would be very, 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 very workable in those sounds. But until then, you're using regular. This one's just goat skin, and it is what it is. It's absolutely nothing special. I don't find this drum particularly awesome to play in Irish music at all. I started with it. I'm not generally a fan of it anymore, playing it in Irish music. This thing is my first go-to drum for world music because of what it can do. Because of its size, its projection, and the fact that it has two skins on it that make this wonderful, muddy sort of sound to it. It sounds primal. It sounds raw. It sounds like it would be difficult to mic. It sounds like it would be difficult to process. It sounds like it shouldn't be processed. It sounds like it should be heard raw. It sounds like it should be enjoyed for what it is, this very sort of bastard son of bodhran playing sort of sound to it. There's a lot of great sounds and a lot of good fun you can have with a double skin drum. So I know they're not popular, but for those of you out there who like the double and the triple skin drums, I know that Brennan White makes several models, or the options rather, of putting double and triple skin skins on his drums. If anyone out there owns a triple skin Brennan White, can you do a video and send it to me? I'd love to actually hear it and see it. I want to hear what that sounds like and how his tuning system works to that. It's something I don't know. It would be great if you could send me that, if anyone has any info about that or whatever. So, thanks very much. This video was specifically for the double skin drummers out there. So if you're a single skin drummer, my apologies. We're going back to you next video, but this was very specifically, just for the double skin players out there. So until next time, I'm Alex Crocker at Shallibodhran, and have a good week. Bye.